Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's get into another in-depth candle review. If you missed it a little bit earlier today, I uploaded my thoughts on the Kringle Reserve Crimson and Clover fragrance. I will link that video in the description box right below this one. If you are interested in checking out my thoughts on that, that's where it will be. I will also put a link to where you can purchase this particular scent, which is obviously Herbs and Spice, also from the Kringle Reserve line. The Kringle Reserve candles rarely ever really go on sale. You can use the ambassador discount codes. So mine, for example, is MELANIEP15, just the number 15. That'll save you 15%. That usually works with most sales at Kringle, unless the sale is a particularly good one, in which case they don't let you combine discounts. But since the Reserve candles rarely ever go on sale, that's really the only discount that's available for them for the most part. All right, so Herbs and Spice. I did receive this one in PR. It is not one that I would have ever purchased on my own. This is why I actually appreciate companies sending out PR, because a lot of times they are sending things that typically I would not pick up on my own, and I do think it's nice to be able to review things that are outside of my comfort zone. But I will totally admit that it's hard to spend your own money on something, even if you are doing it for like a YouTube channel. It's still hard to spend your money on something where you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm actually going to enjoy this one. Now, this is a scent that I would absolutely not personally repurchase. I would repurchase the Crimson and Clover, surprisingly enough, but this one, not so much. That doesn't mean that I think this is a bad scent. This is just a very, very interesting scent. And I feel like not a lot of people love this one. The label definitely implies that you are going to be smelling a lot of like fresh herbal goodness here. When in reality, it really does come across as more of like a dried herb type scent versus fresh herbs. I do think that there is a difference between those two, and it's very evident in this fragrance. If you have like a little herb garden on, like if you're living in an apartment, like on your patio, or if you're lucky enough to have a backyard, if you have a fresh herb garden, you know that fresh herbs smell very green. Like I feel like there's no better word to describe that scent other than like fresh greenness, right? When herbs are dried, they become, I think, a little bit more pungent in certain ways. And that's definitely how I would explain this fragrance, is that it is quite pungent. And definitely for a very specific type of nose. So let's go ahead and get into the description here. We'll kind of read through the fragrance notes, and then we'll talk about strength and throw. All right, so Herbs and Spice, a sophisticated fusion of peppered rosemary and a hint of Ceylon cinnamon dashed over botanical herbs, green fig, and aromatic white cedar. Your top notes here are herbal, bergamot, and black pepper. The mid notes are spice and rosemary. And then the base is fruit, amber, and wood. So the main thing that really stands out to me about this particular scent is I get an abundance of those kind of like generic dried herbs, almost like there's definitely some dried rosemary in here. It almost smells like there's like some thyme in here as well. It's just an interesting concoction of dried herbs. I do think this would have been a better fragrance if those herbal notes were more in line with the fresh herbal notes that I think Kringle is capable of. So for example, the Sicilian orange, which as you guys are probably aware is one of my favorite scents from Kringle. That one is mostly fresh citrus, but it also has this really beautiful, like fresh herbal touch to it that smells very green, very alive, very vibrant. This smells a little bit like stale in a way because the herbs are dried. I get a lot of cedar out of this. Honestly, the second thing that really hits me here besides those herbs is definitely the cedar. Oddly enough, I don't get anything in the way of spice other than like a pepper. I don't get cinnamon. I don't get any other, like I don't get a star anise. I don't get any other types of spices with the exception of like a strong peppery note. This fragrance almost comes across as cologne-y in a way. I've heard a couple people explain it that way. I do think in a weird way it's slightly more masculine, but it definitely still smells like it belongs in a kitchen, if that makes sense. Maybe like a really masculine chef would opt to wear this fragrance. I don't know. It's really interesting. And I have to say, if you are at all on the fence about this one, I don't know that I would like push you over the fence to get it. I just think a lot of people are probably going to be a little bit like ho-hum about this particular fragrance. I think had they opted to go with the fresher herbal notes, this would have been a much more well-received fragrance. But as it stands right now, I just don't think this is something that I would tell someone to necessarily take a chance on. Now, if you know that you like those dried herb type notes, if you know you really love a nice, clean, fresh cedar, and you like some pepper in there, then definitely take a chance on this. But if you're just the average person kind of coming into it, like if you're looking for some amber in this, I don't smell amber. That being said, sometimes different noses pick up different notes, but I don't really get the amber in here. I don't get anything fruity. I certainly don't get a fig, whether ripe or green. This really just revolves around the dried herbs, the cedar, the pepper, and just kind of this like somewhat masculine cologne type vibe. So that being said, how does she perform burn wise? Pretty good. Not quite as strong as most of the Reserve candles, to be perfectly honest, but I'm good with it here. The strength of this one is probably about a 6. It's not really any stronger than the regular Kringle soy candles. These Reserve candles are supposed to be different because they have more premium oils. I believe the concentration of the oils is just a little bit higher. So you know, they're supposed to be a superior product in that way, but I'm finding in the performance of this one is more in line with just that typical medium throw that I get from the Kringle 2-wick jars. I'm not upset about that level of strength and throw because I think that for the size of this, that's acceptable. It's a 2-wick. The opening of the top of the candle is not enormous, so, you know, you're only going to get so much fragrance output. So strength right around a 6. The throw I would put right around like a 6 as well, maybe more of like a 5.5. It doesn't travel terribly far. For this one, I think that's good, at least for my situation. I have had this on my kitchen counter on the island. I think it's a nice kitchen scent. Would I ever repurchase it? I would not. Would I recommend you purchase it? Only if you are positive looking at the notes that you can get behind this. Otherwise, I would say skip this one. But definitely check out the Crimson and Clover if it happens to come back in stock. Of course, that one's sold out. I still have the turquoise to review as well. I've actually not started burning that one quite yet. That one's very interesting. If you have any thoughts on that, definitely leave them down below as well. But this video already went a little bit longer than what I wanted, but I just kind of feel like this one needed just a little bit more of an explanation. So I do give it 1 thumbs up for being interesting, and it's nice to experience different things every now and then, but overall, I don't think this is one of those standout fragrances from Kringle, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is one that they never really necessarily sell out of. So let me know your thoughts on Herbs and Spice If you ordered it, in the comments down below, check out the description box for information on where to find this candle, and I will see you guys in the next one. Please subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.